So when you hear the words Strait of Hormuz, what pops into your head? Probably oil tankers, right? Maybe some military tension, global headlines, and you know what? You're not wrong. But that is only half the story. So let's dive into this narrow strip of water, because it's so much more than a strategic choke point. It's a place where two completely different worlds collide.
To get a handle on that first world, the one we always hear about, we have to start with this number: 21 million. Every single day, 21 million barrels of oil pass through this strait. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that number.
And to put that in perspective, those 21 million barrels, that's over 20%. It's a full fifth of the entire planet's daily oil habit. And all of it, every last drop, is squeezed through one tiny channel. Yeah, a flow of energy that massive has earned the strait a pretty powerful nickname. We're not just talking about a shipping lane here. People call it the world's energy artery. And that analogy, it's stark, but it's dead on. If the global economy is a living, breathing body, then a blockage here isn't just a little problem. It's a catastrophic stroke, the kind that sends the whole system into an immediate, full-blown crisis. So who's counting on this artery the most? Well, it's a global issue for sure, but a staggering 70% of all that oil is heading straight for these super energy-hungry markets in Asia. For them, keeping Hormuz open isn't a choice. It's an absolute economic necessity. But here's the catch. This absolutely vital economic artery runs right through a very, very tense neighborhood. And that brings us to the story most of us already know, the constant, simmering state of conflict that kind of defines the whole region.
There's actually a term for it: gray zone warfare. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this simmering, low-level friction that never quite boils over into an all-out war. But it also means the region almost never gets to experience real peace. It's just this perpetual state of unease.
And that constant unease leads to a pretty terrifying question. What would actually happen if this waterway shut down? Even for a single day, just 24 hours. The ripple effects on prices, on inflation, on the global financial system, they'd be immediate and they would be absolutely devastating.
But what if we do just that? For a second, let's just push aside all the warships, the politics, the guns, and the radar. What are we left with then?
What's left is the other world of the Strait of Hormuz, a hidden world full of incredible natural beauty and ancient culture that just quietly exists right in the middle of this geopolitical storm. I mean, we're talking about a world that's been in the making for over 500 million years. It's a place of surreal landscapes, giant salt domes, and deep blue seas that was here long, long before the first oil tanker ever set sail. Okay, so let's start our tour with the islands inside the strait. They're honestly some of the most geologically unique spots on the entire planet. People call them the Rainbow Islands.
And the most famous of them all is Hormuz Island itself. It gets that rainbow nickname because there are more than 70 different minerals coloring its soil. You can find this incredible red earth, called gilac, that locals actually use as a spice in their cooking. And its red beaches are so otherworldly, people say it's like walking on Mars.
And this deep connection to the land, it even inspires the architecture. Forget about boring, boxy hotels. The Majara residence is this amazing collection of colorful domes that locals built using local earth. The whole thing is designed to look like it just grew right out of the island itself.
Hop over to the nearby Keshem Island and you'll find Star Valley. Now, local legend says it was formed when a star literally fell from the sky. The real geological story, though, is just as dramatic. For millions of years, wind and rain have been carving away at the soft rock, leaving behind this incredible forest of hard rock pillars. All right, now let's travel across the strait to the Omani side, to a place called the Musandam Peninsula. The landscape here is so spectacular it has its own epic nickname, Arabia's Majestic Fjords.
People call it the Norway of the Middle East, but honestly, it's a world away. Instead of lush green hills, you've got this sun-scorched limestone. And these fjords weren't carved out by glaciers. Nope, they were formed when the Arabian tectonic plate actually slid under the Eurasian plate, which caused the whole coastline to just sink into the sea. And life here is just as unique. You have these remote villages that you can only get to by traditional boats. The deep blue waters are a sanctuary for migrating whale sharks, the biggest fish on Earth. And it's home to the Kumzari people, who speak this fascinating language that's a blend of all the different sailors' tongues that have passed through the strait over centuries. So here's the whole point.
You've got two completely different realities existing in the exact same physical space. On one side, you have the world of conflict and global commerce, and on the other, you have this timeless world of ancient nature and culture.
And the contrast is just wild. In the very same waters where these massive oil tankers are passing, you have whale sharks migrating. Just miles away from heavily armed military bases, you find the Rainbow Islands. A theater of gray zone warfare is at the same time a sanctuary for dolphins. One world is driven by the ticks of the global economy, the other is shaped by ancient geology.
At the end of the day, to really understand the Strait of Hormuz, you have to hold both of these worlds in your mind at once. You have to see that in this one narrow waterway, you can feel this incredible, stark contrast between the eternal, timeless beauty of the natural world and the loud, but ultimately fleeting nature of human